This episode is sponsored by Visual Media. Are you an entrepreneur or a small business looking to take your brand to the next level? Then Visual Media is the service for you. Visual Media is a video production company who specializes in creating high quality visual content for social media, websites, and online courses. Head over to Visual Media on Instagram and drop Resilience in their DM to get started. That's VZUALMEDIA underscore to get started. What's up, everyone? This is Resilience in Action with Erin Brown, the number one podcast for anyone looking to have a greater human experience. This is Resilience in Action with Erin Brown, and we are here with Angelica Williams. I'm not even going to lie. I saw her Instagram, right? And I am really big on, I'm trying to be really big on like asking. Like at the very end of the day, shoot your shot. If you miss, if someone says no, it's absolutely okay. So I slid right in them DMs. I said, hey, I want to get you on the podcast. Like the content you created, the stuff that you have on your page is so intriguing and interesting. And I know you got an amazing story. And she said yes, y'all. She said yes. So here we are, finally being able to sit down and chop it up for a little bit. Angelica, thank you so much for spending a little time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So let's just jump right in. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Angelica Williams. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I relocated to Louisville, Kentucky around 2012. I got married and I've been here since 2012. So it'll be 10 years. I just said 10 years in May.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a journey. My ex-husband and I are no longer married, but I'm still here because I've developed roots here. I've developed relationships here. I've developed networks here. I've grown a lot here. So people say, girl, you've been in Louisville for 10 years. You from Louisville now. You have to St. Louis no more. You from Louisville. So I'm from Louisville now, but I am a mom. I have a 4-year-old little boy who keeps me very, 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 very busy. He's really smart and he knows how to challenge me. Funny story, a few weeks ago, our toilet wasn't working and I'm panicking because I'm like, my apartment smells horrible. Call maintenance down. He's like, well, ma'am, your water valve is off. And I said, I wonder who did that. He said, he's going to turn it out back. I said, he been in here fooling with my knob on the toilet. So he keeps me on my toes. But aside from being a mom, I'm an entrepreneur. So I have a twofold business to where my focus is helping women discover and become their whole selves. So I wrote a book called Here She Comes. And before the end of this podcast, this interview, I'll show you all what the book looks like. But it's a workbook to help women understand who they want to be as their whole self. And then I walk them through who they are now, how they became to be that way, how do we stop being that way so we can morph into who we just said we want to be. And then I give them the few chapters of tips on that process of the in between, because sometimes that's where we get tripped up and it's easy to backtrack. And then after I walk them through the do's and don'ts of that gap process, I take them to that last chapter of beginning to emerge into who they really want to be. And my book and my coaching is the first side of my business, but I also like to provide clothing that affirms women in that process. So a lot of the clothing that you'll see me make says whole vibe, because I want everybody to understand, women, you are a whole vibe, even if you're not your best self yet. And I want to encourage them on their journey. So I love to make sure that I'm encouraging women the way I wish I was encouraged. I like to give the tools that I wish I had. And that's what my book is. It's a huge tool because I actually am about to start reading it as a reader and not the author, because I want to take myself through that journey of making sure I'm creating my best life after becoming my best self, my whole self. So I'm currently a substitute teacher. I do that during the day. That's where I am now, henceforth the books and all that good fun, the big fancy tree in the background. But my goal is to definitely operate in full freedom of time so that way I can build and create and invest in myself the way I can. Because when you're teaching all day long and then you come home to a 4-year-old, your energy is like that. And I believe in living a fulfilled life, not just being in survival mode. I desire to thrive. So I'm funny. I love to laugh. I love to make people laugh. If you go to my Instagram, you're probably going to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm big on making sure people get to grow. I value growth, and I like to make sure people feel encouraged and motivated to be their best. And I'm very transparent, very much so. That's just how I like to deliver things. I don't like to sugarcoat things. If we're going to be our best, we have to be clear and honest with us first.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a little bit about me. I'm a foodie, honey. I will eat and eat and eat. And I love to dance. I love quiet time. I value that a whole lot. I love sleep. I like the older I get, I notice I like being at home a lot more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I like being at home. I like being outside sometimes, but I value being at home. So that's just a little bit about me.
I love that. Yeah. So I want to go back to something you said that I also can that also resonates with me, and creating the tools and being a person and providing a service that you wish you had back then when you were younger and stuff like that. Let's start there. Here she is. Here
Here
she
she
here she
comes.
comes. Here she comes. Yes. Okay. This is the new book. Is it out? Can we purchase it?
Can I grab it? Can I show the
Go
book
ahead.
to
Yeah,
you?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
I said, let me grab this really quick so they can see.
Yes.
I do want to say I do graphic design as well, and I designed the cover and the back.
Oh, here she comes. Look at that, y'all.
Yep, here
Yes.
she
First of all,
comes.
owning that red.
Yep, 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 yep.
Yes. Okay. I love that. I'm definitely, when we get off of here, I'm definitely going to purchase mine because here she comes.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, we got to support
Awesome.
each other.
Awesome. Absolutely. I
Got to
appreciate
support
that.
each other. Of course, of course. What is it? What is one or two lessons in your book that you can share with us that you wish you had known, growing up?
The effects I teach about in chapter 3, I touch on. I'll read to you I'm gonna
Okay.
give you a little preview. So in my chapters, look, I write the way that I talk, okay? So like chapter 3 is called Wait a minute, what's the holdup?
I loved it. Deliver.
Wait a minute, what's the holdup? That's how I talk. So when y'all read that, hear my voice, okay? Um, I remember growing up and I would always compare myself to light skinned women because I was bullied as being a dark skinned girl.
Mm,
Childhood trauma affects us each stage of our life. And I wish I knew that not healing from that trauma, not being aware that it was trauma, I wish I knew that it was so I could attack it differently. I
mm,
just thought that's how I was. I just thought, oh, I'm not pretty, they are. I wish I was aware of what the holdup was, that trauma being in the way of me seeing myself in a certain light, of me trying to do different things, of me challenging myself and pushing myself out there. I wish I was aware that I didn't discover what the holdup was until after I got into a marriage and I was not functioning as my best self. I couldn't show up as a healthy wife. I couldn't show up as a great partner. I mean, I tried my best. I gave my efforts, but there were certain parts of my femininity I was not even tapped into because of the holdup, because of the trauma.
mm.
And I wish I was just more aware of how that affected me in my younger years. So I wish I was aware of affirmations. I wish I was aware of positive self-talk because I was aware of negative self-talk. I mean, I talked to myself reckless. I didn't need enemies because I was my biggest one. I didn't
Mm.
have haters. I was my biggest hater. So I would say one of the biggest lessons was being aware of how affirmations can help me get that trauma out of the way and recover from that.
Mm.
Number two, I would say the gift of divine timing and not allowing comparison to happen, but understanding I am where I'm supposed to be right now. And I don't care what they're doing and they're doing. I'm right here right now and I'm where I'm supposed to be. That calms down a lot of anxiety too, when you're not thinking ahead on why am I not there or why am I not doing, because you're not supposed to be right now. Divine timing has not guided you and aligned you there yet. Those are
Hmm.
two big lessons for me that I'm still applying today. It just would have helped if I would have learned it a lot earlier.
Yeah.
I would have saved myself a lot of time, a lot of heartache, but it's okay. Heartache still taught me. The heartache still helped me grow, helped me learn. But I would definitely say those are two big lessons for me.
Those are huge lessons, and I can concur with those lessons. Showing up for yourself and those affirmations. Like, a lot of people think that affirmation is like some type of taboo. Is not, that's foolishness in a sense. It's not going to do nothing, blah blah blah. Like, until you actually get into it, you might have to show up in that mirror and fake it till you make it, right? You have to change your mindset. And once your mindset starts to develop and your environment starts to change, then those affirmations, you start to like live them. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, that really did work. That was really a powerful step that I took. You know, oh my gosh, yeah, that is amazing. So those are two valuable lessons that I know the listeners are definitely going to be able to resonate with. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Um, what what encouraged you to sit down and put pen to paper and create this book? Like, what inspired that?
Trauma and realizing how it held me back. I looked at my life and it was very stagnant, very stuck, no thriving whatsoever, no flourishing whatsoever. Feeling that she on the inside screaming to come out, and I didn't
Mm,
know how to let her out. Like she was saying, "Girl, let me out of here so I can create this life we supposed to have."
mm-hmm.
You know how like you wake up feeling like there's got to be more to life than this, that feeling never going away. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute, hold up, wait. And when I started to go back in my journal, I keep a journal with me. I have a lot of journals because one of my coping mechanisms from therapy and anxious thoughts, I found out that I'm a high functioning person with anxiety.
Mm.
So, what helps me function and make it and not spaz out is tools. One of my tools is journaling. Reading through my journals entries, I was like, wow, okay, just letting it all out. But once I got to a place where God had given me the vision for the book years ago, and I was like, oh, I ain't writing no book. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, yeah, that's cute, but here's the title for your book. And once my divorce was finalized, I knew it was time to go ahead and get that book out. But what was funny is that the book was already done, just about. It was all in my journal. And I just,
Nice. So you just, yes. Listen. So you ain't
that
even
was
have
that's
to really like sit down and like, you just, it was there.
whole book. I was like, wow. It was in my phone. Because when those moments of insight hit me to where it's helping me grow, I type it up just to keep in my phone.
Hmm.
But that's how my books come about.
Wow.
Is what I've experienced. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I write it down.
Hmm.
So I was looking through the notes in my phone. I was like, there's chapter one, there's chapter two. All right. Looking at my journal. Oh, there's chapter three, there's chapter four. I got 7 chapters in this book, and it all came from notes in my phone and my journal. That's literally where it came from. So I think
That's
I wrote the book in about, I think I completed the book, started January. I was done by March. Yeah, 3 months tops.
that's wild. That's awesome. That's
Literally.
awesome.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you um did you go through a publisher or did you self-publish?
Self
I
published.
know that's right. They better stop playing. They better stop playing with you.
Yeah, self published. Yep.
Perfect, perfect. Before we get off this, I want you to make sure you let us know exactly where to go to get that book. Because we're gonna have to get this. Yes.
Okay, so if y'all go to www.memadewhole.com, so memadewhole.com, that's where you all can go to get the book.
Perfect. Wonderful. What let me see. What is a time in your life that you felt unstoppable, that you maybe you just woke up one day and were just like, I can take on the world? What was that like?
It's so many moments like that. Like it comes in spurts.
Yeah, it's in waves, huh? Yep.
Once my divorce was finalized and I started to change the way I spoke to myself,
Mm-hmm.
once I started getting that book done, I'll say I took myself on the first trip by myself solo ever in my 32 years of living in March. And I made it a business trip because I said I've never been away in my life. I've never traveled by myself. I've never taken an impromptu trip by myself. And I saw Moonchild. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're like a neo soul jazz group.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that they were going to be in North Carolina. And I was like, bruh, I'm about to go. The freedom that I had to say, I'm about to go. And I went.
Yes.
Walking into that airport made me feel like, girl, you doing this. Like, you're really doing, like, do you understand how dope you are? You're doing this right now. You're not waiting on the girls trip. You're taking yourself. Like, you're giving to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That moment of empowerment for me, I was talking to myself and everyone like, girl, we going to North Carolina right now, girl, we going. And it just felt so good because that proved to myself, first of all, I value freedom of time. I
Mm-hmm.
have to have it every day. Second of all, I value finances. I value the reality of luxury that has to become a reality of mine. I don't like being broke. It's not cool. I don't like the financial struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So I that moment of experiencing that let me know, oh, I'm gonna make this happen in real life all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is happening now, but I'm gonna make this happen all the time. And I pretty much locked myself in my hotel room and made sure I finished this book. That was a business trip.
I know that's right. I
My
know that's
laptop took my girl took my laptop during when I was in that bed, and I was like making sure everything was right, making sure everything was aligned, making sure everything was straight, and it's a tax write off too, which is nice because that was all work. But feeling that like, oh, this is what I do. I like to be free so I can build and provide and do what I'm supposed to do.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just like absolutely it was the vibe. Like, oh yeah, absolutely. This is it. Yeah. So experiencing that liberty, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. This is
I'm supposed to,
nice.
oh, this is nice. Like that's what I felt. I was like, I'm supposed to be doing this. Like this is it. And promising myself that I'm going to prioritize my life to make sure I can have that all the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
understand that's going to take educating myself with financial literacy. I understand that's going to take me taking my business seriously and investing in myself and doing what I need to do and learning the ins and outs and failing and trying again and failing and trying again until I can maintain that freedom of time to create that luxury so I can create more freedom of time. As a mom, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
As a business
Absolutely.
owner, I need that. You know, my son's worthy of that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go join the PTA. You're going to have time and freedom to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know,
Because you gotta make them cookies, you gotta make them cookies. Listen, yes.
I'm going to make the teachers margaritas. They don't know that yet, but I'm going to make them some margaritas as
I'm
well.
cracking up because you about to have that school lit. Y'all about to have a good time. All right,
Period.
speaking of
Period. Like that what the girls say. Period. Period.
The amount of attention that girl's getting is ridiculous. That's so wild.
It's
So wild. Like, and the people that have actually hopped on, doing that little Mm.
The power of social media.
That is real. It's real. I didn't grow up in this era. Like I didn't grow up.
Mm,
We didn't have the
no.
access that we have today. We did not have that.
Right.
I grew up with encyclopedias. If I wanted
Yes,
to like if
yes,
I
ma'am.
wanted to look something up, I was going to volume H, picking up that big old we didn't have I couldn't type. So the ability to literally create the life that you want, this is the time to do it. You're doing it. You're
Oh, bless
you're doing it.
you.
You're doing it. That taking full
Thank
advantage of
you.
the resources that you have. You know, you have your bit. You are literally living the value method right now. You are doing it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
send you the book just off GP. Just off GP.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm listen, because I told you, I see what you're doing. You are living and creating a life of abundance.
Yeah.
But it's not just for you.
No.
Like you are out here inspiring and helping other women and girls step into their whole selves and know that they are a whole vibe. Let's talk about whole vibe right quick. Like, yes, what does that mean to you? Like, tell me what whole vibe is. Hey. If you're enjoying this content, do not forget to rate and review. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, be sure to rate and review. It helps us reach more people in more ways. Now, let's get back to some resilience.
It means you are embracing everything God said about you before He made you.
Mm.
Because when He made you, He hand knit you and put you together piece by piece on purpose. And He did it with a purpose. And He attached a purpose to you. And He created and fashioned you for that purpose. And once you understand what that really means, like the depth and heaviness, I like what MC Light said, light as a rock.
Yeah.
You heavy. You're heavy. And when
Mm-hmm.
you understand everything that baby, you a whole vibe. Like when you really grasp how your mind is, how your heart is, how you think, how creative you are, even if it's different than somebody else's creativity. When you understand your orbit that you can get, it's like the complexity of you, the essence of you. It's a whole vibe. But a lot of us aren't tapped into that because we don't believe it. So then when we don't believe it, we don't walk like it and talk like it. And I can honestly say, once I believed I was a whole vibe, that comparison stuff fell off real quick.
Yeah.
Because why am I comparing myself to somebody else when I am enough? Whole vibe. I'm
Yes.
sufficient because that's how God put me together. And so are you. Because when we understand that we're a whole vibe, there's certain things we don't involve ourselves in anymore. There's certain things we don't tolerate anymore. There's certain thoughts we don't think anymore. Because you understand, oh, I'm a whole vibe. That goes against who I am.
I'm above that. I don't even function on that vibration anymore.
That's a disservice to my being now.
A disservice to my being. Come through with the language. Come through with the language, because a disservice to my being. Yes.
And once you believe that, you just can't, some stuff you just can't do.
Exactly.
You just can't, because you like, yeah, that's a disservice to my being. And now I'm cheating myself. Now I'm out of order because I'm doing it to me.
Yep. I always say, once you realize your worth, you'll never let anyone else shortchange you, including you.
And listen, in my book, I talk about low self-worth because that's been my biggest hurdle. But that started with my abuse, which I cover in my book as well. Because my abuse, I'm very graphic in my abuse as well because I need people to get real.
Yeah.
I'm
getting real. Oh my, listen, wait a minute. So a lot of people who watch these interviews, they know that this changes it's not the same. I write something new every single time. I don't know how I'm able to do it, but somehow what I got written on that board aligns perfectly with what we're talking about. No, every single time. Show up. That right there. I'm about to affirm myself because that's how I know I'm where I'm supposed to be and doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's it.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
you are right.
own your truth. Yes. Go ahead. You were talking about your abuse.
The thing is, because it's just like once I owned, oh, that happened to me and that affected me this way, and that caused me to behave this way even in adulthood. That's why my chapters are so crucial, because I'm very honest, because I started to see how it all affected me and how it all trickled down. But I mean, the reason why I start the top of the book with women talking about who they want to be. There's no way I'm about to build a house with no blueprint. There's no way. I can't even tell the architecture. I can't tell the contractors what to do and what to measure out and what to build, because they don't have a blueprint. They need their measurement.
Yes.
And I talk about that in the book. So we're going to start this thing off with the whole you. Who is she? Break her down to me. What she look like? How she walk? When she walk into a room, how do people respond to her? What she smell like? What makes her smile? What gives her joy? What calms her down? What upsets her? If you sit there and think, you'll be like, that's a good. But the point of my book is to make you think to where you're talking to you. Because once you and you get cool,
the outside, there is nothing that can penetrate. Listen, we're gonna have to do like a workshop or something, because I am telling you what yes, go ahead. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. You are hitting on everything. You are not, listen, once you get cool with you, there is nothing that those outside forces cannot penetrate. Go ahead.
Because I was getting beat up by the outside forces real bad. And that's what kept me stuck and stagnant. But it's not supposed to be that way. And that being stagnant for a consistent basis, I was like, this is not even, no way. No. You can just be like, nah, there's more to life than this.
Absolutely.
Once I accepted that, I said, all right, well, let's figure out the work. Because I was in therapy too, still in therapy, love my therapist. Because I remember when I went to therapy, I went to her for one issue and she was like, yeah, that's not the issue. You're the issue. And I was like,
oh, disrespectful. Okay.
She read me for filth, and I didn't get what she was. I didn't get what that lady was saying until years later. I was like, it is me.
Yes.
It's me. It is. I'm the problem here.
I'm the problem. Am I the drama? Am I the drama?
I am the drama. I'm the problem. So once I accepted that, I said, well, let's go ahead and dig into the work to fix that. And that's where the journal entries came from. That's where the reflections came from, because I had to chew on what I was learning in therapy about myself and the correlations between the trauma and how I do things now. So for me, it's just being honest with yourself and not being afraid to get naked with yourself and say, this happened. That's how that made me feel. This happened and now I respond that way. This happened and now it makes me want to do this. I'm big on coping mechanisms, knowing yours. I'm big on defense mechanisms, knowing yours.
Yes.
Because we be like, I'm just this way the time being ever since I was 3 years old. I'm just like this and it's just how I am. Well,
let's get to the root. I'm always trying to get to the root. Always trying to get to the root, because you can't fully understand like what it is that you're going through. You can't fully understand your feelings and without first acknowledging that there is something going on there. and then to understand it, you gotta dig deep. And when you said, you gotta be real with yourself, because you be out here lying, you could be out here lying, you could be out here lying. You ain't doing no good. You doing a lot of damage. So get into the root of what's going on, why you respond in that way. What is it about this person or this situation that made me react this way or that way? And it's that trauma, is that what happened as a child growing up, the environment you were in, like some situations, maybe it starts there. That's where that seed was planted. So we got to dig that out and replace it with something else. Because you could dig it out, but it could grow back. But when you replace it with something else, you replace it with that positivity, those affirmations. Mm-hmm.
So listen, chapter 4 says, move, big, get out the way.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm addressing, because it needs to be understood. Oh, this did happen, and it did make me feel this way, but what next? Am I going to leave it there?
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually give them space to write their own affirmations in this book. I'm a teacher, okay? So it's a workbook, okay? So there are charts that they get to do.
See, I love that. Oh, yeah.
Okay? Yeah. We ain't just reading around here. We working.
We're doing activities. Okay.
We working. Y'all are going to have spots where you can really be honest with yourself and answer the question. And I give y'all a lot of writing space on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it. This ain't no 3 sentence answer. No. Mm-hmm. Like, talk to yourself. And I'm everything I wrote, I've already asked myself. So I want y'all to know that's where all this came from. Okay. But all in all, I just want women to understand the life you desire comes from the whole you. Mm-hmm. And you got to give yourself grace as you become the whole you and create the life you desire. You don't have to rush. Have I created the life I desire yet? Not fully, but it's happening bit by bit by bit by bit by bit by bit.
Yes.
You know, some people be like, how's she writing a book and she ain't did it yet? Well, here's the deal. It's happening. But I've done the work enough to be able to write the book to make it happen for you too. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's my biggest thing. So just providing that support and those tools. And I'm actually in the process of creating a support group for everybody who has purchased this book. So that way you're not just reading like, oh, that was a great book. Okay, no, let's talk about it. Let's get real. Let's create some support. Let's create a community, and let's celebrate each other as those things come into pass. Let's celebrate those things as our lives begin to reflect what we said in that book. Let's celebrate each other as that woman we wrote about in chapter 1 is born. Ultimately, this is like a pregnancy, if you be honest. Ultimately, you know, here she comes. Oh, the baby coming. Ooh.
Uh-huh. Here she is. Yes. Yo, I'm so, first off, I cannot wait to get my copy. So literally, as soon as I get off of here, I'm going to order it.
Well, it'll be in the mail today.
Let's go, because I'm ready.
You get a bookmark too. I made these bookmarks for y'all too. So you get you a nice little bookmark.
Bookmark books, like helping women step into their whole selves, getting in touch and in tune with and knowing that they're a whole vibe. Is there anything else that you want to share with the listeners? Something that maybe you didn't touch on yet? Just
stay in tune with your creator, stay in tune with God, because he's the one that's got the path mapped out anyway. Mm-hmm. You have to talk about being a whole vibe right now, but he made you a whole vibe for a purpose. He didn't make you a whole vibe like, oh, okay, look what I did. No, he's got some great things attached to your life, and he's already laid things out for you. Ask him to order your steps. Ask him to show you how he wants you to go. I know everybody's not people of faith, but there's no way this book could have been born without faith in him, because he literally has shown me what to do. Because on your journey to wholeness, it's not going to be easy. But if you stay connected to Him and you understand, okay, you gave me this whole vibe on purpose. You connected me and you created me with the purpose. Lord, continue to show me what that is so I can stay in tune, so I don't get defeated when
Mm-hmm.
life happens. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get
Absolutely.
thrown off when life happens. So I can understand now this is what He said about me. I'm going to make sure that person comes about. So that would be my biggest thing. Stay connected to Him. Even if you don't know Him, if you don't believe in Him, He believes in you.
He believe in you. Come on, come through.
He believes
Come
in you.
through.
So stay connected to Him. That's what I would say.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. How can we find you? How can we follow you?
Instagram at the little at sign, Growing Woman Tips. Growing woman tips, okay? Because I'm a growing woman, and we're all, if we're on that journey to becoming a whole vibe, that means you are a growing woman,
Mm-hmm.
okay? On Facebook, it's just Angelica Anglica, and then Williams, Williams.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Woo, y'all, so much information, so much insight, so much knowledge. Like, I cannot wait to go back and rewatch this because
Yeah,
the vibes are just, I had a feeling. I had a
yeah,
feeling we was going to be vibey. And this is definitely a whole vibe.
yeah,
Definitely. I have one more question for you.
yes, yes.
What is your relationship? And I usually ask like what's your definition of resilience? But I did an interview earlier today and I said, what is your relationship with resilience? And that hit different. So I'm gonna ask you the same thing. What is your relationship with resilience?
It is the glue to your purpose. If you don't understand there's purpose there, you will lose resilience. Resilience says keep going, keep going. Oh, this happened. Okay, keep going, keep going. Between my sexual abuse at 6 years old, and then my parents getting divorced at 14, and then me having hip surgery, and then me having breast surgery, and then me having um, tumors growing in my body. I know what resilience is all about just
Mm-hmm.
because those things come, those obstacles come. But once you get into tune again to that whole vibe and you understand, no, I'm called to do this, I'm purposed to do this. Yes, uncomfortable, but I have to push through. I can't give up. I can't quit. I got to get to that. I was made to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ask God to put me in the right path I need to be put in, keeping the right support group around you, keeping that those one or two people that can encourage you and pour back into you in those times so you can stay resilient. I mean, when you think about resilience, I think about a palm tree. You can bend that thing as much as you want to, but it's going to pop back up.
Uh-huh.
It can bend and touch the ground, but it's going to pop back up. And that's what resilience reflects in my life because I've been bent, I've been all kind of stuff, but popping back up is the answer. Yesterday, I was crying my little eyes out, like, and within a good hour, I was like, and we're back. Because at the
Uh-huh.
end of the day, you got to know you headed this way, though. God ain't about to lie on you. He said what He said about you. Now go make it real.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Make it happen.
Make
Like
it happen. So
I
this,
got this thing over here. Dreams don't work unless you do. Like
hello.
your life is not going to change unless you put forth the
Nope.
effort. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can pray. I always use this, like pray, right? But then you got to go out and pray. You got to go out and make it happen. You got to go out and get yours. So
Yeah.
yes, resilience, literally resilience in action. That's so fire. That's
Mm-hmm.
so fire.
Yep.
Angelica,
Absolutely.
listen, you are stuck with me for probably the rest of your life. I just want to let you know
Oh,
because you are a whole vibe, and
bless your
you
heart. Thank you.
you are definitely someone that needs to be in my orbit. I need your vibe, your vibrations, the like where you are, where you're going. Like you pump me up. So
Oh,
I'm just here to let you know that you stuck. You stuck. I
well,
apologize in advance.
There's that on that. We got to get you in the whole. It's called the whole vibe tribe. So once we get done building it, you can definitely show up there for sure. And we're connected on social media as well, just because I'm really big on making sure I'm providing a safe space for people to grow. That's the biggest thing. Making sure people have that safe space to be like, all right, here we go. Because again, when I was going through that journey, I didn't have these tools yet because I hadn't written the book yet. But making sure I provide that is the biggest thing. So that's where you can go. Once I get that popping off, and I'll make sure I keep you posted on it too. So
Perfect.
I'm grateful for the interview. I'm grateful for your time today. And for anybody listening, I hope what was said can touch y'all and help you all get to where you want to get to as well. And the same thing for you.
Thank you. It's definitely resonated with me, and I know it's resonating with the listeners. So we absolutely appreciate you hanging out with us, saying yes in the DMs, and showing up as your full self for this interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to rate and review. And remember, resilience in action will always lead to a greater human experience.